If you have a kitchen, you probably have a sink. And if you have a sink, you probably have a dish rack or dish drain to hold everything that's been washed. Even if you have a dishwasher, you still have stuff that overflows or it's too fragile to put into the dishwasher, so you still might have a dish rack. Some of the issues with a dish rack is maybe it needs to just live on the countertop. It can't fit into the sink. If it fits into the sink, then it takes up some real estate in your sink, but it also tends to rust or rot depending on what it's made out of, which can include wood, plastic, or metal. Thanks to the Home Depot Seeds program, we're looking at the ToolKISS Sink-In Aluminum Countertop Dish Rack TK19003-1. It measures 14 by 11 by 3.5 at its tallest. It has an aluminum frame with some plastic supports, plastic side handles, and a little utility bin for your utensils that goes in one corner. It has 4 aluminum support legs, which are covered with silicone boots. These are sealed at the bottom, so water does catch into them, which could be an issue for mold and mildew, as of course this is aluminum and rust is not an issue. So why would you consider buying this for your kitchen? Well, if you dry your dishes on the countertop, it has a very low profile. Of course, because it's aluminum, it's lightweight, it's rust proof. You have a little caddy here to store your stuff, and it's just easy to maneuver, especially with the silicone legs. You put a towel underneath it or a drain board, and it's a nice tool. Disadvantages, because it's very low profile, you may have issues with stacking. You can only stack so much before things spill out because the walls are so low. Something that's not an issue if you're storing or putting your dishes in the sink, or you have a rack that has high walls. Here's a look at our old dish rack full of stuff. Let's look at the new one. How does the Sink-In compare in real world use? Well, as you see here, the whole thing is full and there's a Sink-In underneath, and it's doing the job, right? I'm not one about stacking things in order because that's not the way they come out after they're being washed. It's just whatever gets washed gets put in here, and it usually doesn't look all that pretty. Obviously, the walls of your sink keep everything in, so there's no fear of stuff falling over unless you go over the top. There's been some concerns with the utensil tray falling over. Again, at this point, it's not an issue. We'll try removing some of this stuff out and see if it is, but it seems like in everyday use, this would work pretty well. Here's a shot of everything that was in the sink rack so that you get an idea of how much it held. Here's that little utility tray that doesn't, well, there are notches here that guide it in place. It's not really so much held in place. There aren't any hooks that would grab onto it. So yeah, in fairness, it is kind of loose. If I throw everything in here, let's throw it all on one side to see if we can tip it over. And it doesn't, I mean, I could force it to come over, but it's not falling on its own. So, and if you have these to wash, you probably have some plates and stuff that are going to go in there. So I don't see this as a big issue. Here's a side-by-side view of the two dish racks. Obviously you can see the lower profile of the aluminum, whereas this one, because of its higher walls, seems to take up more space. Of course, the utensil tray holds on to the wire rack, so there's no way that even if you overload this, it will fall off, and it is removable for cleaning. You do have legs on it just like the other one, and you have the same issue, except this is a plastic that has gotten brittle and hard over the last 2 years of ownership, and there's gunk in there because there's no way for the water and moisture to get out because it's not open at the bottom. A common problem to both of these dish racks. This one, it's removable. It doesn't clip on or snap into anything. It just sits here. But if you overload it this way, it's not going to fall over. It may tilt. I've yet to have it to actually collapse because it seems to catch. So I don't think that's the big issue that some people have raised it to be. You have handles for taking it out. You have this plastic that can be removed if you don't like it. It's just to keep stuff from falling through, smaller items. And you can organize your plates this way, or as you saw in our real world use, stuff just gets packed in there however it comes out being washed. This one lends for plates going this way, although I find, you may notice that this one has been spread out, they tend to catch and bind. So that was an issue with this. But the biggest issue with this wire thing is the fact that it just rusts. And it gets on the material and just, you don't want that. So aluminum is a great solution. The question is, if you're going to use this on your countertop, then you may have an issue with, if you're piling in too many things, this might not be quite the one for you. If it's just like small items that's your typical wash load, then this could possibly work on the countertop. That's, I think, the main design for it. That's what they call out for in the description. But obviously, most of us want to put it in the sink where the water can be drained out, it's out of the way, it frees up your countertop space. Overall, I really like this. I think in our application, because we are using it in the sink, stacking is not going to be an issue. It drains, it's not going to rust. The only issue is the silicone legs, just like the other one. And I think the solution might be to cut a little notch at the bottom so that when water does get in there, it has a way of getting out. If you found this video interesting or useful, give us a thumbs up, leave us a comment, join the subscription team. They help eliminate commercials from these videos. And as always, thank you so much for watching.